how to say his name. Oh no, this is so embarrassing. Hi guys, welcome back to round 4. Sorry for that very extended break. So round 4, we are going to be putting on a 2-1, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. We've got, for anybody who's like curious, we've actually got 2, I think 3-0s right now. So it's Terry versus Alan on one side and Gavin versus Riley. So that'll be fun to see what's going to happen. But we've also got Patrick Ridenour versus Hengyue Zhang. So on your left, we've got Patrick's team with Lunala, Xerneas, Incineroar, Smeargle, Ludicolo, and Stakataka. And Hengyue's on your right, we've got that Incineroar, Latias, Xerneas, Amoonguss, Kartana, and Groudon. So Latias is actually going to be a Pokemon here that I have no idea what we're going to see from it. I have definitely not seen it since we've got that those Mega Evolutions from it from before. But Patrick running a sort of team that has been lovingly dubbed Space X for the most part, given the fact that you've got Lunala and Xerneas on here. Lunala, Xerneas, obviously we just saw that pairing win a regional, that Psych Up Lunala after Geomancy has 2 Pokemon very kind of scary. Just so you sort of set up here, and you know, not a lot of counters. I think on Hengyue's side, you do have that Kartana, which could be, you know, one of those Pokemon that could knock out Xerneas with a Smart Strike. So kind of interesting to see exactly how they'll pair up here. Again, I'm kind of hoping to see that Latias. I think it'd be really fun to see exactly what it does as it's like hitting the field. Oh, so this will be one of those things that, man, I forgot that cartridges that I can't read are going to be really difficult, but Amoonguss and Incineroar is going to be the lead on that side, as we've got Xerneas and Incineroar as well here. So two potential fake outers. We've got both Incineroars here. The Incineroar on Hengyue's side is going to be faster than the one on Patrick's side. So probably indicative of like how much they tie, and then the fake out pressure here as well. Xerneas, not exactly in the best spot to kind of set up here. We've got the Amoonguss, which could carry Clear Smog, which will get rid of all the stat changes for any Pokemon. So Patrick gonna have to kind of consider that as he goes into here. If you decide not to go for the fake out pressure, just go straight for damage into that Amoonguss, which might be actually your, you know, biggest threat here. You could go for the Flare Blitzes, but Patrick gonna withdraw that Xerneas, gonna send out a Pokemon that he's got in the back, which is going to be that Ludicolo. So Ludicolo not going to be able to be put to sleep right now, as fake out from Hengyue's Incineroar is going to be going into the Incineroar on Patrick's side, and it's going to get flinched this turn. And the Spore from Amoonguss going into what was that Xerneas is now that Ludicolo does not get affected by it because it is a grass type Pokemon as well. So Patrick kind of seeing that and calling that very nicely. So kind of getting in that Ludicolo for kind of a little bit for free, and has the potential to fake out itself, and and it has the potential to fake out now, as you've also got that Hengyue has to kind of worry about Scald. And Amoonguss is going to be protecting itself on this turn as that fake out goes into that Amoonguss spot. So Hengyue also calling that very nicely. U-turn going into that Ludicolo, going to be going back onto Hengyue, giving him a little bit of a chance to kind of decide what he wants to bring back out against Patrick's side of the field. We've got this Incineroar now, which is probably going to go for either knockoff or Flare Bits, and if Patrick doesn't call that right, he's gonna let the Xerneas come in for essentially free, as knockoff does go into that Amoonguss spot. So this Xerneas is coming in here and is very nicely gonna be able to set up. There's no fake out pressure now from both of Patrick's Pokemon. Has burned that fake out turn with that Ludicolo now, and from before with that Incineroar. So it is going to be a spot for Hengyue to be able to kind of just click Geomancy, kind of be able to put Pokemon to sleep on Patrick's side, because whatever is in that Incineroar spot is going to be able to put to sleep. There's nothing that he can really switch out for it to take that kindly, as we've got the Lunala, I'm guessing here, on Patrick's side of the field, as Geomancy from Hengyue is going to be able to be set up again thanks to that power that it is carrying. So that +2 to special attack, special defense, and speed. And Lunala, which we just saw not even 2 weekends ago, I think this past weekend, was carrying Psych Up a lot, and it is one of those things that now that Hengyue has managed to sort of set up with that Geomancy, this Lunala that came in can just kind of Psych Up on there. However, we have the Amoonguss, which is managing to put Pokemon to sleep with that Spore. This Incineroar is taking that necessary sleep turn. There is nothing that Patrick has in the back that can stop that Spore from hitting any of his Pokemon. You've got that Ludicolo, sure, but now you've got to try to maneuver around this Amoonguss that has that Spore. And that's going to be the hard part here, especially because we've seen Tapu Koko being used in previous rounds here. As Rage Powder, though, from that Amoonguss is going to draw the attention of the attacks from Patrick's side of the field to itself, as Dazzling Gleam from that Xerneas is going to connect with both Pokemon, going to do super effective damage. Going to do a lot of damage thanks to thanks to that Geomancy from earlier. And the Psych Up, I think it copied that Amoonguss because I think it also gets redirected by a Rage Powder and that. So something to really consider there. Not going to be able to benefit from that Geomancy like Patrick probably was trying to bank on and was hoping for. So Hengyue just kind of really playing this to his strengths, managed to set up his own Xerneas and kind of denied Patrick the ability to set up his Xerneas, and also denied that ability to kind of Psych Up right now. And just one of those things where Hengyue is very nicely just kind of commanding this battle, where he's going for another Rage Powder right now as Dazzling Gleam is once again going to connect with both of Patrick's Pokemon. Is going to easily pick up the knockout now on that Incineroar. Does not quite get it on that Lunala. Does manage to put it into barrier range though, so Lunala will be kind of sticking around for just a little bit longer here. Goes for the Psyshock instead, and goes after that Amoonguss, waiting for that that Rage Powder. Does manage to activate the berry on that Amoonguss as well, so this Amoonguss is still going to be sticking around. It could be switched out and have the Regenerator. This Xerneas has not been touched though, and it is set up. This Amoonguss and Xerneas together is kind of like a lethal combo when you don't have a Pokemon that can kind of stop Pokemon from being put to sleep. And now this Ludicolo, which is one of those Pokemon that can't be put to sleep, is going to be on the field, has that Fake Out potential once more, can hit both Pokemon on Hengyue's side of the field. So it's just now a matter of trying to make sure that Xerneas just isn't able to keep pressing Dazzling Gleam and going after other Pokemon. The problem being that if you can't take care of that Amoonguss can just put Pokemon to sleep as well. So Patrick has to consider and think about how he's going to split up those resources as Fake Out goes into that Xerneas spot. I'm going to make it flinch. No Rage Powder on this turn, as Psych Up is now going to be able to happen. Goes for the stat copy, and Spore goes into that Lunala spot though, so Hengyue allowing that Fake Out to happen, but going after the bigger threat of that Lunala, which even though it did copy that Geomancy from that Xerneas in the opposing field, isn't going to be able to move right now because it will have to take a necessary sleep turn on that next turn, allowing it to get hit by a Moonblast or by a Dazzling Gleam, and is kind of just a floating monster right now that isn't really able to do much of anything, as that Ludicolo is going to be switched out and Xerneas is going to be brought back in for Patrick. And this could also be actually put to sleep if Hengyue managed to call that, as now this Lunala is taking that necessary sleep turn. And now we've got Dazzling Gleam, which again boosted by Fairy Aura, is going to be doing a lot of damage. Hits that Xerneas really hard, and Clear Smog finally being revealed on that Amoonguss is going to get rid of that Psych Up from before. And Patrick doesn't really have any outs on how to win this. That Dazzling Gleam did so much damage onto that Xerneas on the switch-in that Hengyue's Xerneas did have that +2 already, so it will be faster than anything on Patrick's side. And Patrick choosing to forfeit now. Not a lot that he can do once that Amoonguss and that Xerneas were paired together. Once your Pokemon are put to sleep and you have no way of stopping that, it's something very difficult to just stop that Xerneas from steamrolling over your team. That Dazzling Gleam does over half damage almost every single time here. And so now Patrick's going to have to really think about how is he going to stop that Amoonguss and that Xerneas from just kind of taking over and commanding that show. You've got the Rage Powder, you've got the Spore, and you've got the Clear Smog, all things to stop the Xerneas on Patrick's side of the field. And there's not much that, Patrick can really do. We saw 3 Pokemon, I think, out of 4 on Hengyue. So we saw the Incineroar, the Xerneas, and the Amoonguss. We don't know what his game plan was on that side. And that's kind of something difficult for Patrick to really think about. If you don't have a proper way to answer that Amoonguss or to stop it from, putting you to sleep, then there's not much you can do. If the other big option you have is if you have that Smeargle on your side, which Patrick does, you can go for the Lovely Kiss, which again is a move that Smeargle will carry just because it can put grass type Pokemon to sleep. And so, one of those things where you have to really think about how are you going to stop the Pokemon that are going to steamroll your team, and then the resources you have to manage for that. And I think Patrick thinks he's found that answer because he is locking on his team right now, and Hengyue is still taking his time on there, has about 40 seconds left, and a lot of things to for him to really think about right now. So it is one of those things where, you know, if you lose that game 1, you have to really think, how are you going to come back from that in game 2, and just make sure that you can at least try to push this to a game 3. And we'll see exactly what these answers are as we go into this game 2. Again, round 4, so one more round before we've got, you know, the last round and then top cut. So let's see exactly how they adjust in this match 2, as I think that is in we've got Incineroar and Groudon as the adjustment, as we've got, I'm guessing that's Stack Attacka, and we've got Smeargle on Patrick's side. So 2 very clear answers to a Xerneas Amoonguss setup. We've got Wide Guard, we've got potential Follow Me, and the own Lovely Kiss here, as Drought and Intimidate are going to be the first moves that happen on, the first abilities that happen on Hengyue's side. So Stack Attack is, you know, one of those Pokemon that has the potential to run Wide Guard all the time against Precipice Blades with that that Groudon. That would be very nice, but I think the Smeargle Stack Attack lead was a very clear answer to that Xerneas setup. You've got, you know, the Follow Me, or you've got like the Lovely Kiss, and then you've got the Gyro Ball, which does a lot of damage, if not picks up clean knockouts right off on Xerneas's. So Spiky Shield, though, is going to be the move of choice for this Smeargle, as Stack Attack also goes for the Protect. So Spiky Shield is going to be, I think it's Togedemaru's signature Protect move, as Fake Out goes into that Stack Attack move actually instead. And Precipice Blades goes into the protected spots of both of these Pokemon, and is going to be sort of a turn where nothing happens for Hengy, but at least the Protects are burned now on the side. His defense falls on that Smeargle. Again, not exactly the most defensive Pokemon anyway, so will be, you know, most likely getting hit every time to just 1 HP with that Focus Sash. And I think still it's a little bit of an advantage to Hengyue, because he's got that ability to kind of really be like, oh, you know, I've got 2 Pokemon that you didn't have lead answers for, versus these Pokemon that you had as the lead versus game 1. Excuse me. So I think Patrick's gonna have to, neither of these Pokemon are really highly offensive Pokemon in my opinion, but now we've got that Groudon being withdrawn, and we've got Amoonguss coming out onto the field once more, and Stack Attacka is actually being withdrawn, and now we've got that, I think it's that Incineroar of Patrick's own. So bringing in the Intimidate, which is gonna put Hengyue's Incineroar at -1. Excuse me, and it's gonna, Lovely Kiss though, that miss is going to be really tough. Getting that Lovely Kiss to connect on that switch in for that Amoonguss would have been actually fantastic for Patrick, and that's a hard thing to kind of see miss as defense goes up and the attack falls, and, you know, no accuracy boost that you're waiting for here. That switch in on that Amoonguss with that Lovely Kiss would have been a super choice for Patrick. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. However, Patrick does have that Fake Out pressure now, could stop a Spore from happening this turn, and could double down into that Amoonguss if he wants to. The other issue here now is that both of these Incineroars are going to be benefiting from the Sun that we've got from that Groudon earlier, and could do a lot of damage with Flare Blitzes, which is something that Amoonguss is also going to have to be wary of. So a lot of things going on right now for both sides. That Smeargle is going to be really important. Still has the Focus Sash intact for it. So I'm going to have to think about that, as Rage Powder, they're going to draw the attacks from Patrick's side and into that, as Lovely Kiss is exactly what he wants, but misses another Lovely Kiss. And U-Turn going to break the Sash now on that Smeargle. And that is definitely something that, you know, you kind of have to play around with when it comes to a move like Lovely Kiss, where you don't have full accuracy. It is a good counter to Grass type Pokemon, and, you know, don't get stuck into Spore, but it is very tough to try to gamble with that accuracy. The Xerneas is going to be switched in, and this is, you know, the kind of pairing that you didn't want to really see if you were Patrick, as Amoonguss gets its berry knocked off by that Incineroar, but Xerneas is free to come in here, and if you're Patrick, you're going to cross those fingers and kind of hope for those Lovely Kiss, like, hopefully to hit now this time, as Xerneas is kind of going to be free to set up again. And there's not a lot that Patrick can really potentially do to stop it, unless he starts going for those hits. And, you know, it is, Patrick actually forfeiting, giving game 2 and the round to Hengyue. So that is actually, I think, the end of that round. So kind of, I think, tough for Patrick there, especially when, you know, when those Lovely Kisses kind of give you a lot to kind of go after. It's hard when you're running lovely because then you keep missing those in a row, especially when you know that that's kind of your win condition. And I think Patrick recognizing that and being like, oh, nothing can kind of come from this match if I don't stop the Amugus, if I don't stop the Xerneas, and having that be kind of like the end to that game is really tough. But I think Hengyue was very good at kind of like managing that and figuring out like, hey, this is how it goes. So that was a tough one. But now we've got the rest of the time, so just go ahead and hang out. And I think I see some matches finishing, so see you guys for round 5. That was definitely a game too. Yeah, so I'll see you guys for round 5 in a little bit. See you guys. Bye bye.